everyone, I Aarti Bajaj, faculty in MCA department from Tecnia Institute of Advanced Studies. Today, I am going to deliver a lecture on looping and iteration. In sequential mode of programming, the calculations are carried out in a sequential manner, while in case of decision control structure, an appropriate set of instructions are executed depending upon the outcome of the condition being tested. These types of programming are limited in nature because when they execute it, they always perform the same series of instructions in the same way exactly once. So, when we need to perform an action over and over, often with variations in the detail each time, the concept of loop can make it happen. The iteration statements, also called the loops, which allow a set of instructions to be repeatedly executed until a certain condition is reached. The condition may be the predetermined like the for loop or the open-ended like the while and the do-while loops. Now, performing a set of instructions repeatedly can be done in two ways: for a specified number of time or until a particular condition is satisfied. The repetitive operation is done through a loop control structure in three ways, like using a for statement, using a while statement, using a do-while statement. Let's discuss one by one. The first one is for loop. The general form of a for loop defines for with the braces initialization, semicolon, condition, semicolon, increment, where the initialization is an assignment statement that is used to set the loop control variable, and the condition is a relational expression that determines when the loop exists, and the increment defines how the control variable changes each time the loop is repeated. The for loop continues to execute as long as the condition is true. The for loop additional features are: more than one variable can be initialized at a time in the for statement, separating one another by the commas. When the conditional expression is absent, it is assumed to be true and it goes on for an infinite loop. The statement will be executed for an infinite time. And the third is the test condition may have any compound relation and the testing need not be limited only to the loop control variable. Fourth is another aspect of the for loop is that one or more sections can be omitted in the for statement if it is necessary. Next is while statement. The while loop checks whether the test expression is true or not. If it is true, the code inside the body of the while loop is executed, that is, the code inside the braces are executed. Then again the test expression is checked whether test expression is true or not. This process continues until the test expression becomes false. The syntax you can see through the diagram. So, the point to be noted about the while loop is, the first is the statement within the while loop would keep on getting executed till the condition being tested remains true. And the second is the condition being tested may use the relational or the logical operators. The third point is the statement within the loop may be a single line or the block of statements. In the first case, the braces are optional. The fourth is the while must test a condition that will eventually becomes false, otherwise the loop would be executed forever indefinitely. And the fifth is, instead of incrementing a loop counter, we can even decrement it and still manage to get the body of the loop executed repeatedly. Next is do while. In C, the do while loop is very similar to the while loop. The only difference between these two loops is that in while loop test expression is checked at first, but in do while loop the code is executed at first and then the condition is checked. So, the code are executed at least once in the do while loop. At first, code inside the body of do is executed, then the test expression is checked. If it is true, the code inside the body of the do are executed again and the process continue until test expression becomes false. Perhaps the most common use of the do while loop is in a menu selection function. When the user enters a valid response, it is returned as the value of the function and the invalid response causes a reprompt. Here, the do while loop is a good choice because you will always want a menu function to execute at least once after the options have been displayed. The program will loop until a valid option is selected. Next is continue statement. The continue statement works somewhat like the break statement. Instead of forcing the termination, however, continue forces the next iteration of the loop to take place. For the for loop, continue causes the increment and then the conditional test portion of the loop to execute. For the while and the do while, program control the passes to the conditional test. Next is the break statement. The break statement has two uses as we discussed earlier in our previous lecture. The first is to terminate a case in the switch statement and the second to force immediate termination of a loop by passing the normal loop conditional test. When the break statement is encountered inside a loop, the loop is immediately terminated and the program control resumes at the next statement following the loop. That's all about the looping and iteration. I hope you understand the lecture. Thank you very much.